Hi, this is Beezy, and it is March 17th, 2022, St. Patrick's Day. I've got a little green on, and it's the full moon, and it's been mostly not fun day. Yesterday, late afternoon, after I did a little yesterday touch base, was pretty good. Um, just had some inspiration, did some things around the business, and I don't remember, but anyways, nothing really in any highs or low dips remarkable. This morning early, it's probably, I don't know, 6-ish. I had the day off and was thinking I would sleep till 7-ish, and that didn't work. And I was in the middle of, not quite getting up yet and setting the sacred space around my house, and a little thing that I do to keep the high vibrational energy and everything expansive. And I wasn't spinning. I've never had one, but I once a long time ago heard my brother having one. We were at a cabin, and our other brother was getting married, and so the family was staying in different rooms in this big cabin sort of thing. And so across the hall, at the door, my door closed and his door closed, he was having a full-blown panic attack. So I've heard what it sounds like, and that felt kind of where I was going. And I thought, no, we're not going to go there. And I think just on thinking about starting to worry about things or spin on things, and it was kind of comical because I was getting on a roll, Moy. I was gonna, spin myself up to it, and part of me's going, I don't think that's going to help us. So I was able to, kind of experience it from a couple different perspectives, and I think money, that bloody bugaboo that we've been trained so well to have problems about, to purchase a trailer or to, I don't know, buy gas at, what are we at now, depending on where you are, $9-10 a gallon. So I think that was part of it. The reason why I'm coming and sharing is because I gave my word to my soul that I would, for any who find it valuable, for maybe some steps on how to do their own thing, because we're all moving, could not necessarily be moving geographically, but we're all moving. I should rephrase that. We're all in the moment now of the choice point that we are moving out of the old, or we're going down with the old. That's the choice point. And so there is movement. We're either fully committing and hopping onto the ascension timeline and all that entails, all that expansion of that entails, all of the delicious richness of not having any of these algorithms or AI or any of those kinds of things. I have to be careful because I don't want to get banned. So everybody is moving in that sense. And so my sense is, what I got this morning is that this is part of going through that. So whatever was in there spinning was, like stuff stuck that I hadn't gotten rid of yet. And, like if you've got a wash machine, you have the agitation cycle to loosen all the dirt and all the stuff you've been gardening with or something like that. And then it spins it around, and so it gets the dirt out. So I think that was a physical representation of what was going on. And if I had not done the practices that I did, and not been very intentional about it. The I don't know how to say it, the state of my body and the emotional body and the stickiness or the fragments of old stuff, or I'm not sure quite how to phrase it, would have very, very easily worked me up into a full-blown freak out. I could feel it. I could sense it coming. I had, a bit of a video kind of watching myself in two different pathways right in the moment as I laid in bed thinking, this feels terrible and is not going to work out well if I don't do something about it. So that was interesting. So again, just breathing was the first thing I did. To just focus and be intentional, not to rush it, not like, okay, that's good now, that's all better. Not to brush it aside, not to belittle myself or beat myself up in any way, not to gloss over, oh, it's okay, it's not the big deal, or any of those kinds of things. Stay in neutral standpoint on that, not dancing with the freaking out or potential thereof, not discounting or diminishing in any way what was going on. So the nice belly breaths where just let the breath breathe me, that helped. I continued on with my practice where it's part shamanic and part, etheric angelic, where it's the four directions and all that. So I continued, and I'm happy to do a recording on that. An actual of me doing it if someone wants that practice. But it's lots of people do it. That's my own kind of version, the way that I do it, because it's got humpback whales and all sorts of mixes of the realms and energetic vibrational frequencies. So the breathing, adding that, so I would stop between, let's say if I was moving from the south to the west, I would stop after doing the south, and then I would focus on breath work. And as I said, I do a whole routine with that, with the different, intentional breaths, and the baby belly breath, where it's just like a baby, just, let the breath breathe you. And that has a wonderful hypnotic effect. It realigns your whole sympathetic nervous system. So it actually brings down the corticosteroid levels and the stress levels and brings all those down. So there's a physiological thing that goes on with doing that breath work. So that was noticeable. And then continuing on and then doing the next, around as I was doing it. So that was a little better, but the feeling was this quaking, not at any one particular thing, just, kind of the whole adventure that I'm on. And so let's see. So I got up from doing that, and I had to take the dogs out and that kind of stuff, and still wasn't feeling good. I thought, well, what can I do next? I thought, well, okay, I'll do some grounding, and that helps a lot in these days in general, whether you're pulling in your dreams or not, or moving or not, doesn't matter. Grounding is very important, and grounding through the crystalline core, through your heart, down in the Gaia. And I do it where I'm anchored into source light energy through the crown and the star chakra. Anyway, so I was doing that, and it just was really hard. And it was, being on the edge of freak out, not because I'm dramatizing what I was feeling, but just there, like the momentum of something was compelling me. And so I sat in this chair, which I would love to be able to take with me, and tuned in. I said to, all sorts of beings, I could use a little help here. And um, so I started to do some clearing, and I started to work on myself. This protocol that I've been bringing in and downloading. It's involves crystals and crystalline work and some other things that I've been doing some training in the last 18 months, and dowsing in a bunch of blend of these different things. Anyways, it's all been guided and self-taught, and I've used it to, heal something big in Xander and a number of other animals and a number of beings around here and in the local area, and have started, as a kind of sampling and testing, offering it to those who were interested in it from the founding members, inspired expansion membership. So I thought, well, let me try that. I just had the nudge, it's on your thing today to do that work for them. I just do it. It's remotely done, and I do it when I'm nudged to do it in part of the testing, and their opportunity to do that. So I thought, okay, so I did a bit more to get myself centered, and I just went into the whole process. And every time I do the process, more downloads come in, more videos come in, more, the light bulb goes on, I feel the energy, and things run a little differently. So I started doing that, and then I lost all sense of time, of worrying, of am I going to fall off the edge of flipping out, and was just purely in the moment of that energy, and playing with the people on the list, the members that had said yes, they wanted to play, and playing with the parts of the protocol and what I was doing. And so I don't know, it was maybe at least 40 minutes. And I stopped and I thought, wow, that really fixed it. That really changed everything, because not only was the worry or panic attack roiling gone, but I was in a different place and space. And I don't mean just, with an emotional thing as this, receded. My body felt different. I felt taller, and I felt more solid's not quite the right word. Well, yes, I guess if I was looking at it as a structure, instead of a structure that was reforming into something and kind of a little shaky, and maybe that was something that's was going on in the beginning. But so that was dramatic, and I felt, because when I finished off, I did some work with Rose, and she's purring up a storm. I thought, well, that was great. So that was interesting. So those are the ways that I went through it, and then I had this live interview on radio, real old-fashioned radio, not a podcast, but the radio. And so that was fun, and it was interesting while I was doing that, because I thought, well, it's interesting that I'm doing something like that I've done before, and in a new way, in a new space. And I'm, of course, totally new, because it's, I don't know, at least maybe it could be 20 years. I used to do a lot of radio shows, not podcasts, but a lot of radio shows. And, there were things you could get on, and they would call you up if they wanted, all over the country, if they wanted to, liked what you were talking about, and their audience would be a good fit, then they would call you up and book you to do the radio shows. So I'd done that a lot. I was back in the East Coast. And the other thing that was interesting is that the host of the show, Duane Reedus, on River Time is the name of the show. And she and I had, I think probably soon after Blog Talk Radio came on to the digital scene in 2007 and 2008, had done a podcast together for that time. And the name has just flown right out of my head. I'll put it in the show more section. So that was interesting. And she and I used to live in Texas, in the Texas Hill Country for a while after I got divorced. And not that far from Wimberley, just a little town right outside the edge of Wimberley, which is where the radio station is, and she lives. And she and I had connected again for, in a really direct way about 3 months ago, the beginning of the year. And so that was a nice surprise. And she was doing some projects and asked if I would do that. And then she said, well, I'd love to have you come on a radio show. And so this was all strung together of this. So I've been on this demonstrable walk of leaving at the date that I'm leaving for a while. I just finally got filled in on on all those details. So I'm just going to keep this short, kind of, and say that it's been interesting and fun, and I'm still excited. And some moments, it's terrorizing. But one of the things I really like to share is that in these moments, we are literally, tangibly, metaphorically, yes, but tangibly moving from one whole existence to a totally new existence. And we can't armchair it. We can't kind of think about doing it if we really want to go, if we really want to completely move out of the old crumbling construct and create, the most cosmically delicious things you could ever imagine, like 50 times square. And so our our guidance, our soul, our whoever you would identify already that you have a relationship with in those realms are absolutely there to support us, but they're the doors are closing. The doors are, well, the planets, separated. So the spheres, I guess you would say, are closing. And it's not just from I don't, I don't have a meditation practice, or I don't have, I don't do breath work, or, people may say different things, or I don't have a, big dream I choose to leap to. What I'm talking about is just life, if you're in whatever size and shape and components of that, you can see it. You can see when as the truth is coming out, all of the false construct is crumbling down. Everything will just dematerialize. And the new is coming, shining through. But you, me, all of us, yous and we's, are building the new. And if we want to go and be part of the new and bring our creations and our expanded consciousness to fruition in this body, then we have to do it. No one can do it for us. We can't, I think I said this years ago, we can't sit in the, the lazy boy or the Barker lounger and wait for the memo that says, hey, New Earth is all built. Come on down. We're having a, lunch special at the New Earth Cafe and see what it's like. We're quantum leaping up, we're leveling up, we're multidimensional jumping out in our expansion. And if we want to be in those places and play in those areas, we on our own volition, our own accord, our own intentionality, our own steps. And it will look very different for every being, but the sameness is, the unity is that that we are 100% responsible, response able, account able to, we've talked about that before, how you move through that, and we design it, we bring it forward, and we have our soul, higher self, your guides, all of those various different beings that are your teams, helping us to do that. But it is going to be, it's going to be a freak out road in some moments, because it's very different than the way we do it now. And in a lot of ways, when you're in the flow of that, when you stop freaking out and you go back to being in connection and communication, trusting yourself, trusting that communication, it's lovely. It is magical. It's like, you've seen shows or read books or had your own experience of things that are magical, that flow, that connectivity, that delicious feeling of magic and aliveness. And that's the payoff, that's the prize, that's the deliciousness of it. And we can have all sorts of help, but we need to get up and do it. And so I'm sure there'll be more coming in about that. But for today, for me, that was very tangible. And, one of the reasons that now is a time for me to make this jump is because I was dying here, literally, with the energetics and the vibrational frequency and on different parts of my being. And so this was my door. And is it set up the way, the cushy way that and I meant, for me, not cushy at all, but I can make do with that. No, not yet, not so far. But still, with all that, I wouldn't change anything. I certainly don't regret any of the steps since Sunday night when I unofficially gave my notice. And I'm so excited about where I'm going once I actually get going and, have a little house on wheels and whatever that looks like. Hopefully it won't be, too little, like 2 seats in the car. But I have this deep knowing, cannot explain it from a linear rational thing, but I have this deep knowing that it is going to be off the charts amazing, not only fun and inspirational and valuable and helpful for me and all that I come into contact with, but that it's why I came here. This next part is why I came. So that makes me look at the, freakouts that are getting rolling, going, oh, I've got a lot of fun to have, and I've got a lot of cool adventures to have, and I'm not interested in playing with the freakout. So whatever that is, I love you, and let's figure it out, and let's move forward. So that's my conversation to myself. And as I look around, there's lots of people who live and work where I do on this place. And they can feel a lot of things. They can sense that the world is imploding on itself. But they're doing their best to just bury their heads. Don't look at it. Don't notice it. Just do the work and, be exhausted at night and do it again. And that will get them to a new place, not the same place I'm going to, because the vibrations are totally different. So, anyways, it was a noticing for me that that absolutely is the case. It's palpable, it's tangible, and I'm not thinking about it or wondering about it or just, armchair dreaming about it. I'm actually going through and doing it. And I don't know, maybe I'm having some of these other things because, like, the, panic almost attack this morning and stuff, because I can, it's testing me, it's cleaning up stuff, on all of my different bodies, and I can come up with tools and ways to do that, so that when others, that are moving to do their things, whatever that is, they need um, some frame of reference, or how did somebody else do it, or how do you navigate it. I've been doing this expansion road for decades, and so I'm used to kind of being out there and there's nobody around. And now there is. Now there's so many beings who are leaps and bounding every moment of every day, changing in their physicality, changing in their structure of their body, changing in their heart and their mind and their consciousness and their play and their abilities, superpowers popping all over the place. And it's wonderful. But it is something we need to commit to and stand all in. This is what the stand up, stand all in is all about. And another thing that I know, even given today, I'd say today on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being yay and 1 being not so great, it was probably early this morning it was a 4, so probably a 5, 4 or 5. And even with all that, again, I can't explain it in any rational, linear way. It's this visceral, fierce, full on love, engagement, connection that what I experienced this morning was nothing. It's just a tiny little bump, and what I am walking to and through, what seems to be a big thing about what I'm walking through, that I've made the leap, that I don't have everything all lined up, that I only know, I don't know what, quarter of a piece of the puzzle, and a little surprising, a wee bit shocking, but apparently that's exactly the way that it's supposed to be. That is the new way of creation. That is the new, it's like, buffing up and chiseling off and smoothing out and expanding and learning the new superpowers and abilities and navigating, all rolled into one, kind of like you do. There's no just simple steps. So that's the plan. That's what Source laid out for us. And since I'm going, and I'm really excited about all the playing and the fun and the adventures and the beauty of all of it, the hearts and everything else, I'm going with it. So anyways, I love you. Have a great night.